All right, let's dive into an absolutely wild 50-year saga surrounding one of the most iconic pieces of automotive engineering in history, Ferrari's front-engine V12 layout. And look, this isn't just some technical story about gears and horsepower. It's literally a gripping tale of exile, underground survival, and ultimately, a triumphant return to the throne. Take the 12Cilindri, Ferrari's brand new, drop-dead gorgeous modern masterpiece. Beneath that stunning exterior is actually the climax of a 50-year-long revenge story. It's the ultimate final answer to a debate that kicked off half a century ago, and it's officially restoring Ferrari's original king to its rightful throne. But, to really understand how we got here, we have to go way back.
Which brings us to Chapter 1, The Fall, in 1973.
So, 1973 was truly the end of an era. The legendary Daytona rolled out of Maranello for the very last time, and Enzo Ferrari's original front-engine V12 vision was just unceremoniously dethroned. And what follows that is this massive glaring gap. We're talking a 23-year void where the front-engine V12 completely vanished from Ferrari's flagship lineup. 2 whole lost decades. You've got to wonder, why on earth did Ferrari abandon the exact layout that made them famous in the first place?
Well, it basically came down to intense peer pressure and flat-out physics. Back in the late 60s and early 70s, you had these flashy mid-engine rivals like the Lamborghini Miura, completely rewriting the rulebook. Mid-engine was the shiny new trend in F1, and critics were loudly claiming that putting the engine in the front was like a horse pulling a carriage, just completely outdated. Plus, the Daytona had frankly hit a physical wall. With this massive engine and gearbox bolted together up front, the car was incredibly front-heavy. At extreme speeds, it was an absolute beast to handle. So Ferrari felt cornered. They had to retreat, shifting all their flagship focus over to mid-engine cars like the Berlinetta Boxer and eventually the Testarossa. But here's where things get interesting in Chapter 2, the underground vein, spanning from 1973 to 1996. See, here is the industry's secret. The front-engine V12 never actually died. It just kind of went into hiding. A very clear ideological divide started to emerge. While all the flashy superstars were buying spec-driven cars just to show off, old-school European aristocrats, like Fiat chairman Gianni Agnelli, quietly chose the subtle front-engine V12 400i for their everyday lives. Agnelli even requested custom cloth interiors straight from Hermes. For true connoisseurs, it was all about timeless elegance. And honestly, it was this aristocratic patronage that kept the V12 heartbeat alive. Which brings us to a massive turning point. Chapter 3, the 456 GT Technological Revolution in 1992. The real game changer here was a total technological revolution, and the magic word you need to know is transaxle. Remember that fatal front-heavy flaw that killed the Daytona? Well, Ferrari's engineers totally solved it by keeping the massive V12 up front, but shifting the heavy gearbox all the way back to the rear axle. They achieved near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution. Boom! They completely neutralized the handling penalty. And this breakthrough unlocked so much versatility that it sparked what we can really only call a royal obsession. Literally. Belgian King Albert II used his dark green 456 GT for quiet, private family getaways. And even crazier, the Sultan of Brunei commissioned Pininfarina to build the legendary station wagon version, the 456 GT Venice, along with secret four-door sedans and convertibles. It proved the front-engine layout could do things a mid-engine supercar couldn't even dream of. It could carry families, haul luggage, and cross entire continents at breathtaking speeds, all while sounding like a literal symphony.
And that sets the stage perfectly for Chapter 4, the restoration of the monarchy in 1996.
By 1996, the transaxle test was a proven success, and that 23-year exile was officially over with the arrival of the incredible 550 Maranello. This was a monumental ideological shift, captured perfectly by Ferrari's chairman at the time, Luca di Montezemolo. He famously said, "The F50 shows our technical limits, but the 550 Maranello shows our lifestyle." They were loudly declaring that the true face of Ferrari was actually about how a car enhances your real life. Think about the contrast. On one side, you have the mid-engine F50, an absolute F1 marvel for sure, but it was punishingly hot, super noisy, and totally impractical. On the flip side, the 550 Maranello gave you everyday drivability, perfect balance, and a trunk you could actually use, without giving up an ounce of speed. Michael Schumacher himself even helped tune the handling to be so razor-sharp that it could easily dominate mid-engine cars on the track. It completely shattered the myth that front-engine cars couldn't compete dynamically.
Moving into Chapter 5, we see the evolution to the multi-purpose GT.
Fast forward to the Elcon era, and that secret underground 2+2 layout, it just completely conquered the modern luxury market. In 2011, the FF dropped, bringing four-wheel drive to the table. Chairman John Elkann famously ordered his without a single exterior Ferrari badge, just the ultimate quiet flex, right? His brother Lapo Elkann customized his FF with a teakwood boot like a luxury yacht and interior fabric made from pinstripe suits. All of this evolution finally culminated in 2022 with the Purosague. The world might call it an SUV, but Ferrari purists know the truth. Thanks to its transaxle and front-mid V12, it's essentially the ultimate four-door, four-seater tall berlinetta.
And honestly, this brings us to a really fascinating modern divide. Today, you've got all these plug-in hybrids just endlessly chasing 0 to 60 specs. But digital tech, it's disposable, it's a fleeting trend. True connoisseurs, on the other hand, view the pure, naturally aspirated V12 as something else entirely. It's not about digital speed, it's about timeless emotion, it's mechanical soul music. It represents this permanent status that doesn't just instantly become obsolete the second a new software update drops.
Which finally brings us to our last chapter, the final answer, the 2024 12Cilindri.
This whole 50-year narrative comes perfectly full circle right here. When you look at the fallen king, the 1973 Daytona, and the new 12Cilindri, the resemblance is impossible to miss. Notice the black connecting band straight across the headlights? That design intentionally echoes the Daytona. But Ferrari is quick to insist this isn't just some cute retro throwback. No, this is a total reversal of history. It takes the exact layout that was defeated by mid-engine rivals 50 years ago and boldly proves that today, it is undeniably the superior format.
The V12 front-engine layout somehow survived its long, dark exile. It learned from the practicality of those 2+2s, it totally adopted the transaxle revolution, and it basically just waited for the rest of the world to wake up and realize that true luxury chases emotion, not a spec sheet. Today, it stands as the undisputed, totally uncompromised pinnacle of the Ferrari brand. So I want to leave you with a thought to really chew on. In an era where every single new car feels like a disposable digital gadget just rushing to outspec the last one, is a naturally aspirated, beautifully balanced analog V12 actually the ultimate form of modern luxury? Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me, and I'll definitely catch you in the next one.